Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to Good Morning with me, Misti B. Guys, you know, we hear a lot about attorneys. I literally remember it being my last year of undergrad, and I was in a media law class, and I had to read this book about tort law. I had never heard of tort law, but the book was so interesting. Today in the studio, I have some gentlemen who are attorneys, founding partners of the Cox Pradia law firm, and we're going to be talking about personal injury. We're going to go further than, vehicular accidents and things like that. We're going to go into dog bites. Like, what do you do if you're at a park and someone's dog bites you? What do you do? If you don't know the answer, I want you guys to stay tuned. I am going to be right back right after this break. See you guys in just a second.
Confidence comes standard with a certified pre-owned Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac, your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on Houston's largest certified pre-owned Cadillac inventory, with the assurance of a 172-point inspection, meticulous reconditioning by master Cadillac technicians, and a total 5-year limited warranty with unlimited miles.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford, financing, closing costs, mortgage, putting it on the market, considering offers, inspection, negotiations, submitting offers, schools, down payment, title insurance, home warranty, taxes, review net sheets. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, everyone. So, we all hear about vehicular accidents, 18-wheeler accidents. We hear all of these things, right? And a lot of times that's the only time that you think that you can hire a personal injury attorney. Well, that is not the case. And today in the studio, I have the gentlemen, the founding partners of the Cox Pradia law firm, here in the studio to tell us when to hire a personal injury attorney. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so let's jump right on in. So, Jonathan, when is the perfect time to hire a personal injury attorney?
It's a good question. I think the perfect time to hire a personal injury attorney is when you're injured. And it sounds kind of short to say, but injuries come from all different places. You're right. You hear about car accidents, 18-wheeler accidents, but we oftentimes, have clients who walk into a store, walk into Kroger, they slip and fall. That's a personal injury case.
Okay.
People are at work or at the mall. We have clients who have been robbed at the mall. Those are personal injury cases. We work on all those type of cases. Each one of those cases could potentially have value.
Okay, wait then. So you said something I never thought about.
Yeah.
And Troy, I'm gonna jump to you. So someone being robbed at the mall. Walk me through their process. What do? I just go to I was about to say a phone book. I guess we don't do that anymore. I go online and I start searching for personal injury attorneys. Like, how would I know to do that?
Well, with the access of your cell phone, we pay all this money for cell phones. We need to use them, and so they're just like computers, and so people just Google personal injury attorneys, and if it's in the Houston area, you would just say in the Houston area a personal injury attorney, and you would a few personal injury attorneys will pop up, and you just kind of deselect based upon what you're really looking for and who's going to tend to your needs and who is going to be responsive to whatever you need in your personal injury case. So I would say you're doing your due diligence, look at about 3 to 5 attorneys and call them up, research them, and just kind of find out who is the perfect fit for you in your personal injury case.
So I have to tell you, I hope this never happens to me, but if I were to be robbed at a mall, I don't think I would even think to call an attorney. I would just be like, oh, that's a loss, that I have to take. So you said people are injured, but what if you're not injured in that case, Jonathan? Someone just stole your belongings.
Well, injuries can come in different forms, though.
Okay.
You may not be physically injured, but you may have an emotional injury. You may have mental anguish from being robbed. You may be scared to go back to the mall again.
Okay.
Those are compensable damages that if you can prove that a mall had inadequate security and they've had notice that there's been crimes on the property before, then they have a duty to protect their patrons. And so you may get robbed and you may not have a physical injury, but you may be emotionally damaged because of that. And that has value.
Wow, I would have never, ever thought about that. Now let's talk about this. So I remember back in the day, 90s, early 2000s, everybody was going to the store to slip and fall, right? So they can go and sue a store. How is that going today? Are people still intentionally doing that?
Well, I think there may be people doing that, but I don't think you'll see those cases pay out, right?
Okay.
I think now the way the law is, you have to prove that a company had knowledge that there was some kind of dangerous condition on the floor. Just because you fall at Kroger doesn't mean Kroger's responsible. You have to prove that Kroger had knowledge that there was something on the floor, or they controlled whatever caused you to fall.
Okay.
And so there are certain steps you have to prove to get there. But you look at each one of those cases to evaluate it to determine whether or not you have a case. Okay.
And Troy, so any interesting cases that you guys can share that you're currently working on? Because again, we all know about the vehicular accidents. Anything else?
We have an interesting case where an older female was trying to have a kid, and they went to a in vitro hospital, and they had some eggs to form, and the people who owned the facility, they dropped all of the eggs and destroyed the eggs. And so our client is very distraught. She's at an older age, and you know how hard it is to conceive.
Wow.
And so we're handling that case right now. We think it's just a terrible situation for both her and her husband. And so we're handling that case. We think that's a very interesting case. It doesn't happen all the time. We have a few cases out in California that have transpired sort of like this. And so, that's kind of new technology, new medical technology, the way you have kids now. And so people who can't conceive, and so they go to these facilities, they've already been through it emotionally because they can't have kids the natural way.
Right.
And so when you go to these facilities, you would hope that they would take care of your,
especially because you're paying a large amount of money for those facilities, from what I know.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, a large amount of money to go through the process. It's a long, tenuous process, and sometimes you don't conceive and you don't have a child. Just think about if this is your last step and your last chance to have a child, and something like this happens, how devastating that could be. Yeah. And so that, just like Jonathan talked about in the earlier segment, you have all of these things going through your head emotionally. People want to have children, and they deserve to have children. And when you can't, and you go to these facilities, and something like this happens, your world is turned upside down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And not only for the female, but for the male too, because it's tough on a man too when he can't have a kid with the person he's married to or his partner, and so it's hard on the man too. And so
interesting story.
In that particular case, you have damages on both ends for the female and the man.
Oh wow. Okay, Jonathan, any other stories that untraditional or non-traditional cases that you guys have taken on recently?
Yeah, I just recently started working on a case where two females were downtown, kind of hanging out at a local bar on Main Street, and they were standing up on one of the stools in a section, and they had some windows that were not secured, and the windows opened up and they fell from the second story.
Wow.
It was a terrible case. They were injured really badly. They are still recovering. It's pretty recent. And so we're looking at that case, and we're looking at the bar and the building owners to determine whether or not there's liability there. We think it's a really good case.
Wow. So let me ask you this, just to be clear. So they were standing there and the windows, they just open? Like it was just like, I guess it wasn't
They weren't
closed?
secured, and they
Wow.
kind of leaned up against it as if like it was a wall, and the French doors just opened up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
very, very terrible. A lot of people saw it happen. It was really bad.
Wow. People
Yeah.
witnessed this.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Man, now
Yeah.
I'm be a little more secure when I go. Make sure I don't stand on anything.
Listen, you have to be careful when you go to these bars. You
Wow, that's something like I would never, ever think about.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I have to bring up really quickly before we go to break.
Sure.
One thing we do see in Houston is road rage, right?
Mm.
We see it every single day.
Yeah.
So outside of an accident, is there ever a time to reach out to a personal injury attorney? Say the person didn't hit your car, but I've heard stories about people being threatened, like people getting out of the cars and saying things to them. If something goes too far, like when do you know to call you guys?
Well, go ahead, Troy.
Well, I mean, a road rage, that's sort of like an intentional act. And so you can try to sue the person if somebody shot you or shot at your car. You could probably try to sue them if they had, say for they had insurance. A lot of times the insurance, they will deny claims when it's an intentional act. And so it has to be negligence, a duty, damages and causation, and so has to be some kind of harm. You can't just go and walk up to somebody and shoot them. That's an intentional act. And so in this particular case with road rage, most of those incidents, somebody pulls out a weapon, shoots at a person, that's an intentional act. Of course, you could go against them individually, but most people are judgment free. What I mean by that is most people don't have a ton of money sitting around, and so you can sue them, but you just may be spinning your wheels. But I would take some action as far as filing a police report, and then you can
Reach out to some attorneys.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can reach out to some attorneys, see if this person is available or can pay a judgment.
Got it. Okay, so we're going to take a really quick break, guys. So, guys, stay tuned because coming up next, I'm going to talk about something near and dear to me, and that's dog bites. We'll be right back right after this break.
Confidence comes standard with a certified pre-owned Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac, your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on Houston's largest certified pre-owned Cadillac inventory, with the assurance of a 172-point inspection, meticulous reconditioning by master Cadillac technicians, and a total 5-year limited warranty with unlimited miles.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford? Financing, closing costs, mortgage, putting it on the market, considering offers, inspection, negotiations, submitting offers, schools, down payment, title insurance, home warranty, taxes, review net sheets. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Okay, so guys, I recently learned about premise liability, right? And dog bites fall under that, right? But tell me, what is that, Troy? What is premise liability?
Premise liability is when a landowner has something, like a dangerous condition on their land, and it causes someone an injury. So in dog bite cases, in Texas, there's a new law out here where you can actually be charged with a felony if your dog gets out and bites someone. It used to be a second bite rule, but I think they've changed the law on that now. And so there was a case think there was a guy that played in the NFL, and he had a bulldog or one of those kind of dogs, and he was living out in Fort Bend area, and his dog got loose and bit the neighbor pretty bad, and so he was actually charged with a felony, and he was sued under his homeowner's policy. So right now in Texas, they don't have a 2-bite rule anymore, and so
2-bite. Wait. Let's back up. 2 bites. So at one point, I could get bit twice by a dog, and then I could sue. If he bit me once, then I'd be okay.
It was a 2nd bite rule, and so now they've changed that. And so if you have a vicious dog, you're supposed to take care of that dog, make sure that dog is on a leash when you walk the dog, and so you can't just let your dog just roam free in the neighborhood. You know,
okay, so let me share this story.
Go
and
ahead.
You tell me, guys, what my friend should have done. So I have a friend, and I think it was earlier this year, late last year. My time is all off. I think it was this year, actually. She was delivering groceries, okay? She delivers groceries to this home, and you don't go inside the people's home, right? So they meet you at the door, you greet them, especially with COVID, and you just kind of, give them the groceries. Well, as she was walking back to the car to get more groceries, the person's dog ran out, jumped, and literally latched onto her arm. Okay, the people were very apologetic, and they ended up giving her a $100 tip. Woohoo, that sounds great. She said that it did not break the skin. Look at Jonathan's face. She said it did not break the skin, and she's a dog lover. Me, however, I would have had to have some conversations with you all. So what would that have looked like, right, if I had called you all?
Well, the first thing I would advise that she should have done is gone to the hospital and get checked out.
Okay.
Right? You don't know if a dog has rabies or anything like that.
True.
The second thing she should have done was call the Cox Pradia law firm. And then we would have investigated to find out, the circumstances of the dog getting out, the owners of the house, whether or not that dog had any prior incidents or aggression. And we just kind of look into it. And if they have homeowners insurance, we would bring a claim against them.
Really?
Because a $100 tip is not enough.
It's not.
No,
it's not. And I think sometimes we just settle for the minimal.
Yes.
If
Yes.
that dog would have been me, I'm not gonna be honest, I would have had some issues, because I am that person. I like to go running at Herman Park. And every now and then you have that person who wants to play fetch with their dog at Herman Park. This is not the place to play fetch. It is people out here, and I know your dog may not bite you, but he does not know me. Okay, so clearly I feel very passionate
all
about
dogs
that.
have teeth.
And I agree with you on that, yeah.
Yes, my grandmother, she used to love to say, her thing was, I hate when people say their dogs don't bite. Well, how does he chew his food? That was her favorite thing to say.
I like that.
All right, so now we touched on slip and fall accidents just a little bit earlier. So now, I just want to make sure. You go into the store, say they do have a sign that says, floor recently mopped, or whatever this little yellow sign says, but you accidentally fall. Do you call you guys, or you just, the sign was here, it's my fault?
Well, it just depends. Although they have a sign up, we had a case where they mopped the floor, but the sign was further down the aisle, and when the person turned the corner, they didn't see the sign and it was wet. So, that's not proper placement from the store owner. And so it's just different circumstances.
Okay.
And most of these stores have video, and so there's video evidence. And so, and in Texas, you have to have notice. And so it just can't be there for, the spill can't occur 1 minute and then you turn the corner and slip. They have to be put on notice. So if it's there, if you have foot traffic, footprints on the aisle, so something like that. If you see like some grapes or something and you see the juice from the grapes on the floor, that tells you that it's been there for a while.
Okay.
And so it just can't be there for a minute. Jonathan was working on a case where a lady was going through the bank lobby and she slipped, and the video showed that right before she went through the bank lobby, someone else had spilled something. So that didn't give the owners of the bank or the property owner proper notice to clean up the spill. And so we didn't get anything on that case, and that case was dismissed based upon the video evidence.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, another topic that I'm seeing a lot, and I actually just watched a documentary on this, is nursing home negligence. Guys, Jonathan, what's going on in nursing homes? Like, what's really happening?
Well, nursing homes are, they're kind of like hospitals, but they're living in residential areas as well. And our elders are there, right? And so people who are in nursing homes already have some type of illness. But with nursing home negligence, a lot of times what you see is when the people or the patients who are in there are just not being treated properly or not being taken care of in a proper way. You see a lot of cases where people have bed sores. Those are really prevalent issues that happen in nursing homes. And the people who work there are supposed to monitor the patients, and they're supposed to turn them and flip them and help them, move their body so they don't grow these bed sores. And so you see that a lot, right? And you also see people who get in fights in nursing homes. You won't believe it, but
really?
They have people who get fights in nursing homes, and all of those are nursing home negligence cases.
I'm sorry, who's fighting in nursing homes?
You may have people who come into a nursing home, and I think we had a case where someone was attacked in a nursing home one time, right?
Wow,
That's correct. Yeah,
right.
So,
like a person, a resident.
yeah, I mean, so if you know that the person that's living at the nursing home has a dementia, they're violent, and so you have to separate these patients. And so most of them have 24-hour care, and so you have to pay attention to those particular residents because they become a danger to the other residents in the nursing home. And so that's on the nursing home administration to take care and make sure that they keep those violent patients away from the other patients. So and so that's a part of why they pay the fee. To be there.
That's very true. That's true.
And
right.
So
for 24-hour
and believe
care.
me, nursing homes make a lot of money.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Yes,
they don't give you enough care. So.
Okay. Let's talk about community events. I know that you guys are very involved in the community. Anything you have coming up that you guys want to talk about?
Well, I mean, we do a lot in the community. We for many years did a summer concert out at the Woodlands. We did it like 3 years in a row, 3 summers in a row. With a radio station in town. We do a lot of that. We also try and do back to school drives. This year we intend on doing something for the Thanksgiving holidays. We haven't quite decided yet whether we'll sponsor a few families or just find somewhere where we can pass out Thanksgiving kits.
Okay.
We'll do things like that. And of course, during the Christmas holidays, we'll always try to do something for the kids.
Okay. So can I challenge you guys? You're attorneys. You love challenges, right?
Sure.
Troy, I'm really challenging you. You've been giving me the hardest time. Joking. Okay, so here's my challenge. So I love to do stuff in the community as well.
Okay.
But what I have found, and I know you specifically said, Jonathan, Thanksgiving and Christmas. What I found is that everybody is helping out in the community on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's correct.
People need help just because it's Wednesday.
That's right.
Right? So I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to hold you to it if you agree. I want you guys to do your usual Thanksgiving and or Christmas event, but let's do it on whenever.
We call it Just Because.
We're going to call it just because, whatever, just because.
I like that.
Just
Seriously.
because people are in need.
Perfect. Just because people are in need. My thing is just because it's Wednesday. But yes, just because people are in need. Because I think we do focus on those days. But everybody, they're overwhelmed with receiving stuff. But
You're
what
right.
about the days when they don't have anything?
Right.
All right. So I'm holding y'all to that.
We accept that
Yes,
challenge.
I know where your office is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come and see us. We can partner together and do this together.
I got it. I'm food truck queen, so I got you.
I know that's
I
right.
can help you.
Misti B and the Cox Pradia Law Firm.
That's it.
Just
love it.
because.
Just because. I love that.
I love
Thank
it.
you, gentlemen, for coming into the studio and sharing all this. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, I am going to be right back right after this break.
Confidence comes standard with a certified pre-owned Cadillac from Ron Carter Cadillac, your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months on Houston's largest certified pre-owned Cadillac inventory, with the assurance of a 172-point inspection, meticulous reconditioning by master Cadillac technicians, and a total 5-year limited warranty with unlimited miles.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Real estate can be a very complicated process. Finding one, how much can you afford, financing, closing costs, mortgage, putting it on the market, considering offers, inspection, negotiations, submitting offers, schools, down payment, title insurance, home warranty, taxes, review net sheets. These are the pieces of the puzzle of home ownership. I'm the person who helps put it together and the glue that keeps it together. Give me a call.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you learn something that you did not know? I am always learning, and I am intentional about making sure I learn something every single day. Now listen, so I challenged these gentlemen, okay? I challenged them to doing something in the community just because. And like I said, my thing is just because it's Wednesday. One of my favorite songs by Anita Baker is I Love You Just Because. So I challenge you all to, and I'm gonna challenge myself. Let's be kind to ourselves just because. Let's show love to our friends and our family just because. Let's go do something in the community just because. Why are we waiting on this calendar that says this is this date, that date, and that's when you're supposed to do things? Do them from your heart just because it's Wednesday. As always, follow us, chat with us on Instagram and on Facebook at American Star TV. I look forward to seeing you guys next time, and I really look forward to hearing from you guys because you guys send some funny stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.